This is the September 9th SCITT Architecture meeting for today, and we're going to walk through some of the backlog of issues. And I think, Ray, you said you had the DIDX 509 conversation you wanted to present.
If I can just present this for a few minutes, get it off of out of my head, I'd appreciate it. Here, if you can just expand me into, I don't know, if you can see my screen back there.
Oh, you want me to present? Yeah, give me a second. Let me.
If you can just, no, I don't need to share my screen.
Back there. I see.
Last time we were talking about the issues between the differences in DID, and actually the fact that the industry is kind of in not knowing what to do right now, or kind of like wondering what to do, is really a good opportunity, really, because that means that there's a chance to do something a little bit different than what's already locked in. Maybe not. Maybe there's things I don't know about that cause it to be locked in more than this. But anyway, what I'm looking at is that if you have the X509, you have the ID information, right? And you have the public key, and it's all wrapped up into one thumbprint accessor. So the people are storing this thumbprint for this, and if it ever changes, the thumbprint doesn't lead you back to the new one or anything like that. If you had the same information in the DID web kind of format, or COSI, CBR, whatever, it could be the exact same information. It's going to get a different thumbprint because it's encoded differently. Going between these then is a bit of a problem, because you may have the same information, but you get a different thumbprint out of it and you can't keep track.
Well, I'm not sure sorry to interrupt you, Ray, but
yeah, go ahead.
So what do you mean the thumbprint for DID? Because I think the idea with DID is that you have the identifier, which you reserve into a DID document, which has a key. So do you mean the thumbprint is a hash of the DID document? Is that what you mean?
I think that's what they're doing, but I'm not sure. So, but in any case, I could be wrong about that. But the DID document could also be just about anything. So it may not be true that that's the way it's done. But if they're used to using this thumbprint to identify things, and then you wonder, okay, well, what was the last one, and so forth. So maybe this is already done in the DID web architecture. I don't know. But let me just tell you what I was thinking of, is to split this between the ID and the public key list. Okay, so the ID only, this is all the information about company and so forth, blah, blah, blah. That gets an accessor to it. And I guess some people want to hide that, but I'm not sure if this actually handles the hiding. But there might be Delta public, ID information behind it, kind of a GitHub type Delta, if you want. And then this has a signature based on the latest signature from the public key list. And so whenever you go from an old public key to a new public key, the ID will stay the same. That accessor is the same. Change to a new public key, it gets signed by the prior public key, this signature. The latest public key signs the ID information. That's not part of the accessor, that's out here. And then if you want to change the ID information, the public key accessor stays the same. And so you have two accessors at all times. That way you can migrate from one to the next. Now, how many old public keys want to be in here? I would think at least 10 or something. So this becomes a new certificate format. In other words, you don't just have the current stuff. You have the prior stuff. You have signatures amongst the different things of the components of this certificate. And there's a couple of accessors to let you come in here. Depends on which one you change. Now, the ID information probably doesn't change too fast. And the public keys get changed rapidly, or relatively more rapidly. I'm not sure how fast they tend to want to rotate them, but it's pretty frequently. I mean, maybe on the order of at least quarters or months or days. And so you'd want to keep something in here so that people, if they had an old public key, they could still find this. So this would address a lot of the issues that I hear Roy talking about, migrating from one to the next. Like, how would you migrate from X509 to the new thing? Well, you put the X509 maybe in this whole thing here, somewhere, somehow put it in and either split it up or something, and then you'd still be able to migrate up to the next one. It's the same process. But the point is, instead of having what they used to do, which is one thumbprint accessor for the whole thing, and you can't tell what's inside, any changes the thumbprint. You have to some other way to tracking the whole thing because it doesn't track itself. And by doing this internal tracking, it makes this more of an integrated block. Sure, the thumbprint makes that an integrated block because it's, it's a unified because of that. But it doesn't seem to have these rotating signatures in here, the old public keys, none of that. And that would be, so that's my suggestion. It may be too far out of whack for anyone to embrace. But like I said, you tell me, look something over and I'll think about it, and it happens in the middle of the night and I come up with something like this, and it's not something I can stop. So it's helpful to me to get it out of my system. Now you guys know what I was thinking about, and you can take maybe parts of it or whatever. Okay, thank you.
I appreciate the thought.
Yeah, any questions or anything about what I was thinking about? All right, well, think about it. Maybe it'll.
So, okay, did you have a chance to read the DID X509 spec from last week?
I did look over some of the things, and what I'm not going to have time to dig too much deeply into this because right now I have a critical contract story going on with the state of Maryland that I want to try to get. So I'm working on that very much.
Okay.
And so I can't do as much as I'd like to on this. But since, but I think this would solve a lot of the things, something like this. I can go in more depth once I get past this week. But actually it's tomorrow we have our big meeting. So I don't want to, I've been working my butt off on that. So I've been sort of sidetracked, but this still happens. All right. And so essentially it's an opportunity right now because people are wondering what to do. And as I say, maybe this doesn't fit in at all. I'm not going to be worried if this is shit canned right away because it's nonsense. But if I had a clean slate and you said, Raymond, come up with something so that we can track these public keys and the IDs, I would suggest something like this.
I guess I'm looking to Antoine and Ori, and basically you folks on, does this solve some of the challenges we've been having?
I think
go ahead.
No, go ahead, Cedric.
So to me, it's very close to the intent of DID, but with different details for the DID document and the DID methods in particular for binding and relating successive keys. But I would think a natural way to look at it is to see if that can fit as improved or new DID method.
Yeah, so I have basically the same feedback. It's basically what DID already does. So you separate the identity information, which is the identifier, from the credentials, the keys, which is the keys in the DID document. So I think effectively what is proposed there is already what we have with DID, assuming that you use the right method for it.
I'll have to study it and see. Yeah, that could be. If not, it looks like DID web is pretty flexible, but
DID web has some disadvantages, like for instance, I mean, depends how you are thinking about the history of all keys and the stability of DID manifests, of DID documents with DID web can be questioned. But I think if you have what you have, if the keys you have are certificates, then the DID methods that turns a collection of X509 certificates into a identifier is exactly what I think you are advocating, and that's also what the DID X509 method is trying to do.
okay. Well, I'll tell you what. When I get more time, I will study that again and see if indeed I'm thinking along the same lines, and that'll be great. Okay, thanks.
So just a thought regarding these editors architecture calls. I'm a bit frustrated with the structure that we have for them. I would really prefer to just process issues and pull requests and have less open-ended discussion unless you hit an issue that really invites an open-ended discussion. Just because like time is limited and the progress of the work item is our mission objective, the discussions are basically cannibalizing valuable meeting time. And it's not to say that these are not like valuable things that we would talk about at IETF or, other venues, but unless it's an issue that's driving changes in a standards track document, we really ought not to be talking about it in these meetings. It's not what I come to the meetings for. So, yeah, Ray, I appreciate all the comments you made. I just wanted to add that sort of thought because I feel we could be more effective as a working group if we hit our issue and PR sort of cadence a bit harder. Yeah, that's just my 2 cents on how to do editors meetings.
So I think, so we talked about this a couple of weeks, was that I sent the email, and I will get right to the PRs for you, but I think the question is, how do we have the meeting agendas? And so I'd suggest if we didn't have a good meeting agenda, we would cancel. That's the notes I put in for a couple of meetings ago.
Yeah, but this is the default is what Ori just said. Sorry.
No, I agree. So that's what I'm saying is maybe because I want to give Ray credit for his conversation, but I think to some extent that's actually better in the Monday meeting where there's a larger group. And this one, we want to be more tactical about cranking through some of the issues.
Yeah,
so I think
what Ori is saying that the bar for anything we discuss in this meeting is something that is related to proposed change. So only thing that has kind of actionable change on the draft should be discussed here, and everything else we first discuss either on the Monday meeting or on the mailing list, right? And I think it's a good stance, and we should stick to that.
And we could also then keep the meeting, even if somebody's not making it, the meeting continues every week, and we'll just work through the issues with whoever's here. If somebody that's required for a particular topic is in the meeting, there should always be other PRs or issues to work through. Does that work for everybody?
Yeah, and even if the exception to the rule is a discussion, it can be scheduled via an issue, so to speak, right? So, so I think that's fine.
So I agree. I think it's super important to have clear, predefined agendas and to stick to them. They can be adapted, but ahead of the meeting, it makes it easier for people to track, and also as pragmatically to deal with not everyone being at every meeting.
Okay, so without further ado, Cedric, did I see you put a note in the email that you had worked on the should not topic?
Not quite. So Antoine is working on that, and we'll have an update on that. On my side, maybe I can start because it's going to be much shorter. So I'm still dealing with the terminology, and it's taking. It's more complex than I thought because there had been a lot of inconsistent changes in terminology in the document, and also some of them were consistent, but I'm guessing done by automated expression replacement, and they are actually a bit wrong. So I'm think at roughly at 30% of the text, but still progressing, and then I can do the pull request and we can discuss it next time. But the goal is the same. So I want to stick to the terminology and simplify it noticeably by removing consumers and producers and sticking to the issuer and verifiers terminology that we have.
I thought we had a pretty good discussion around the issues, and I thought we were sticking with consumers and producers because the other one was more actions as opposed to.
Okay, so then let's discuss it. That's not at all what I'm trying to do from what I thought was the result of the prior meetings. Yes.
Yeah. So, Steve, you have been absent of some of the meetings, and we moved beyond that. So
Okay.
and we had a very. I think it's okay. So that's as a working thesis and as a coherent proposal, I think it's very valuable that Cedric follows the path now that we laid out, and it's fine to do this next week in detail if that still takes that time. So again, we can arrive at a point. Okay, this does not make sense, but I would not judge, and I'm pretty confident that it makes sense as we do it right now. So I would like to keep that course.
Okay, so could I just capture in the notes what we're deciding? Because just looking at the notes, there wasn't anything here.
I don't think we keep notes when you're not here. Sorry.
Well, that's why we're wasting time. Is I know where I can see worries are like to it.
Okay, so I think the consensus we had at that meeting and what I'm trying to implement is to normalize to the existing terminology and to remove the duplication between consumer producer in some cases and issuer verifiers in others. And to me, the consensus is to stick to issuer and verifier plus auditor. And that's what I said to implement, and then we can see what it looks like in the pull request. Now, I discovered lots of other confusing, inconsistent terminology issues, and maybe I'm trying too hard to change them. I should stick to consumer producers, but I still think it's really worth doing a pass on checking the terminology. And as I said, I'm done maybe at 1/3 of the document, which is probably the last part of the document being easier to process, but I'm not there yet.
So I'm sorry, I don't know if it's just me. Are we on this should not issue a PR?
No, I'm still discussing the terminology, the consumer producers. And
okay. Is there a PR that
you can
you're
switch to Antoine, who is going to talk about shows.
Yeah, so on shoot, basically my take that the current PR is virtually unmergeable. Because every time we try to discuss any of the change, we go like deep into addressing the problems around this particular language. Typically because there was like something we did not really resolve in discussion, and then we left it a little bit open. So what I've been doing is I've been actually splitting my change into multiple commits that are going to file as multiple PRs.
Can I get a time? Hold on. I'm sorry. This is part of what I think we need to make sure we're capturing. Are you guys referring to a PR that's not visible yet? Is it
no. So you were on the right PR earlier. You were showing it.
The should not?
Yes. So this one.
Okay, I thought Cedric just said this wasn't it. Sorry.
Full
No,
90.
because that wasn't what he was discussing. That's what I am discussing. So this PR, yes, what I'm telling you is that based on the discussion we had when we tried to merge this, it's kind of, I think it's kind of impossible to merge as a single piece. So I'm trying to address the point that were raised in the change that were discussed, and we only discussed like three of them out
Okay.
of maybe 20. So what I'm doing, my strategy is that I'm splitting that PR into multiple independent commits, which try to address the kind of the issues that are raised, the semantic issues that are raised by some of the change. And as you can see, there are a lot of comments because there are a lot of open issues that we have to fix. So basically what I'm telling is that I want to close this PR and I want to create a new collection of PRs so that we can discuss each of the change as a kind of a separate issue, so we can merge them independently and it's easier to discuss. And I've made some progress on the creating like independent commits for maybe 5 or 6 of them, but I still need to do the rest.
So Antoine,
That is done. So let's do the hands if not mind.
I think I'm up. So I think just as a sort of point of process, you can make a billion changes in GitHub and IETF doesn't understand or respect any of them until they become drafts that are published to the list and feedback is requested on the list. So I think it doesn't really matter if you merge the PR and then you make another PR and then, or you do 4 or 5 or what, like that, all of that doesn't matter. The document doesn't advance until drafts go to the list and feedback's requested on them. In terms of like my feedback on that particular PR, the only thing that's stopping it from being merged from my perspective, and I think I'm the only one who's requesting changes, is just accepting or dismissing the suggestions. So just like tactically, if you say, yep, I'll take it, commit suggestion, or no, I don't want it, resolve comment thread. And then you say, hey, I reviewed your feedback, it's good. I would approve it. If you have approvals, one approval after 2 weeks or 1 week, you should merge it. Like, because at the end of the day, the GitHub process is sort of before the official IETF process. And you'll get, your critical blocking feedback is going to be on the draft. So I don't think you should be applying, super rigorous process to editing the drafts. Personally, I think we could go faster here with just merging and making smaller updates. And like you said, the longer you leave a big PR open, the more debris it accumulates. And so, it's just bad practice to leave PRs open because they become intractable. As opposed to like small PRs that are merging fairly quickly. And, if someone has an issue with the text, they should file an issue and demand that it get addressed, or they should open a PR themselves, or they can wait until it goes to the list and they can nuke it on the list. But ultimately, the list feedback is what blocks the document from being published. That's it.
I'm also in support of making fast changes that I'm sorry, go ahead, Hank, you get your hand raised. You're following the right process.
Okay, I reviewed all suggestions from Ori right now here on my local site of 95. I agree with all of them. I propose to commit them. I would like to ask Antoine if you would split your work into multiple PRs, would there be additional items than to the ones we see here right now, or is it just for discussion's sake?
No, it's additional change. So like I think when we discuss, for instance, the support of deep methods, we kind of agreed that it was not just in the text, is that like the requirement appeared in the wrong place. And we need kind of refactor the document so that we talk about implementation requirements separately.
I see.
So, I mean, this is the kind of thing that I can only properly address by doing more change. And I was thinking that adding this change to this PR, it creates like even more kind of churn and makes it even harder to review, especially review fully as a single piece. So that's why I was thinking that the only way that we can make progress is to split it into chunks.
Yeah, but how about we do the things you did here for the should not should in place without structural change and commit it would that break things when you work then from this new
No.
main?
No, it's fine.
No.
We can do it that way. It's just I was concerned that
Please do it that way. You've gotten review on this PR. So if you
Don't lose it.
the PR, you know, it's like, okay, well, like, why did I review this?
I think, Antoine, that's why I was a little confused also, because this one is really focused on the should and should not. And it sounds like you want to make some additional changes, which is great, but don't block this PR and lose all the feedback.
okay. So it's okay. So in that case, what we can do now is we can take the remaining proposed change from Ori and try to merge it today. That's okay.
Absolutely. So it's mainly a manifest to DIT document, which is, I think, a no-brainer. Some consistency, like having a transparency removed or something. So it all is like or looking into the future document, like a note on future work, which is never okay in standard. So it's fine. So all of this seems to be pretty consistent. There's something about okay, then there's a weird comment from Hannes that I would just ignore for now. So there's like DITs are resolved. I mean, Jesus, okay, transparency service resolved DITs. Yes, absolutely fine. Distributed identifiers to make manifest again, not the right term. So I'm okay with actually all of it. Just go through all those and plus one them and merge them if that is fine with everybody. Merging means commit suggestion, actually.
So I was going
Let me maybe
I,
do
I
it.
thought commit suggestion broke the signing part of things.
If I do it myself, it should be no, it should work actually. It will sign with a GitHub key instead of my key. But
I'm happy to try. Well, we can try it here.
let me do it myself. It probably is easier.
Okay, then I will stop what I'm doing. And
just to be clear, it doesn't matter because the revision history is tracked in GitHub, and that's what you're using to maintain liability protection. So when you click the merge button, the history is preserved in the repo. So I personally recommend using the UI and just like going through it and not like asking people to do rebase or pull up command line tools or do commit signing, you know, by hand. I think all of that is a distraction from the IETF's mission.
Does anybody disagree with that? Because it is frustrating that we can't just click the button because it loses some of the signing pieces and some of the GitHub actions.
You can just click the button. I think that's what I'm saying.
I'm asking others, do they agree? That's all.
Click the button.
Yeah, I don't worry about the signing off things because it is literally just more text. There's no information verbatim added to it. It says I'm signing off with my email address. Well, thank you for now exposing my email address openly. But that's no problem for me. But the GitHub user has the same purpose, and I'm absolutely fine with this. So I do not really understand the sign off mechanism. Maybe that's and I'd not be worried, but I'm not worried about this.
All right. So anybody else have an opinion counter, just to make sure?
Yes, so I tried to do the commit button, but it fails when I do it myself. So someone else has to try.
You may not have permissions, in which case we should give you permissions.
As the editor, you should be.
Yeah, you should have permissions, but anyone can press the button. So when you're doing a code review like this and you're screen sharing,
anybody's got maintainer permissions, not just anybody.
well, anyone in this meeting should be able to press this button, or you shouldn't be in the meeting. I mean, that's kind of the whole point. So if you're looking at the button and you're saying everyone has consensus, any objections, commit. Next one, any objections? Commit.
Yeah, so I think let's do it. So this one that you're looking at, that's a no-brainer. So manifest to DID document, you can click it. Yeah. Yeah, so I have
the diff is outdated. Oh, did somebody already click it? Is that what happened?
Because I think you applied the last one.
Yeah, that's the other reason why you want to apply them is that they interact with each other. And so if you leave them all open and then you apply one, it's going to change everything. So you want to be kind of staying up to date within a week of applying usually.
I mean, let's just put a sync point on this, right? This is or your point, this is the editors meeting. And if we're agreeing, we can do the quick iteration. If people outside this group disagree, then that's what the whole IETF process is about, right?
That's what the source control system's for.
Right. And if the collection of editors here submit something the community and others disagree with, and there's enough noise about it, we get shut down and have to change. So
Yeah, they'll literally make you do a PR to remove the changes you applied. Like that's how it works. So don't fear it, just move quickly.
So, okay, can you look at, so let's try to do it.
Yep. That's a resolve.
So this one is resolved.
Sorry, I'm looking.
No,
Oh, here.
yeah.
Okay, here's the next one.
Okay, yeah.
Claim receipt.
Yes. So I think this is also non-controversial, right? I don't have a problem with it.
Going twice.
I have no problem with it.
Okay.
Okay, that one went in. Good. Manifest DID document. I think we just agreed to this one. It's just another location.
Yeah, that's not related, but good, yes.
Okay, this one's a longer one. This is from Hannes, actually.
Hmm?
Yeah, this is the whole future version. This is what Hank was just saying. We get rid of this.
Yeah. Well, I'm okay with it actually. I mean, yes, I guess we don't need to say anything about future version. They will say it's in the future version, so we can remove this.
Yeah, no, so it's probably going to happen in COSI rather than SCITT now, yes.
Yes.
I mean, just in general, things that are future should be issues we track and not in the document.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there are, again,
it's up-
no hard rules here, but yes, in general, yes.
Yeah, I think
I've seen you do to-dos, Hank. I think early on, yes, that totally makes sense, but we're way beyond the early on.
It's really actually just up to the people on this call to decide how they want to do it. Sometimes it's really helpful to put a warning in the document that's like, we can't agree on even how to leave the sentence here. And so put a warning, put an issue marker directly into the document, make it clear to readers there's additional context you need. That's a thing that W3C working groups do. And it's a thing that I would be cautious doing because it leads to like awful to read documents. But when you hit a really contentious issue, it's the best way of resolving that issue and merging the PR. You say, we're still discussing, here's the issue marker, we're merging the PR.
Yeah, it's a
Okay,
way to
so-
submit without blocking. Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
I'm just looking to see if there's any other things that I could commit and merge, and then we'll scrub back through. Okay, so all of those are done. The easy buttons are done. So now it's going through these for the
Yeah, so I think some
resolve
of these ones like this, I think probably has to be addressed. May offer. Yeah, I think I have some further change that I will probably do in a separate PR.
What am I missing here? So the public private key. Oh, for signing on behalf of the server. Wait, is this just a formatting change?
Yes, in fact it is.
Yeah,
Yes.
2 lines to 1 line. Weird. So many
So
discussions
why is
on.
not, Ori, you're saying nice, that's a lot of effort to put into something that's just a line wrap. What am I missing here?
You're not missing anything. It's just calling out that I did a review of the document. I thought this section was good.
Okay.
Okay.
And it clearly what it did. So I do this when I do reviews because I think something's good and I want to draw attention to it in case I'm wrong. And so, and look, that's what happened. You know, other people commented underneath it, threading, asking questions. They may have blocking feedback. Nice is not blocking feedback.
Yes.
Okay, so it's more than just a line wrap. It's actually, you're just saying this is a good comment, good change for the discussion. Gotcha. So this can be resolved? Just
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this can be
Yes.
resolved.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so this one
This is the future again.
Hannes is a PR that better addresses this. I would just ignore it for now because his PR is,
Yep.
is better.
Yeah.
So
And
put
we
in a
already,
a different
we already
PR?
removed the tax anyway, so this is
Yeah.
updated. Anyway.
I would
So
pop
let's
out,
reword it because it's related.
grab Hannes's PR or actually the specific comment I left on it and link it here, and then you can resolve the comment. If you just, it'll
Is
be
this
that
this one you're talking about?
Yep, and just scroll to the point where I left that comment. It'll be about the issuer. I suggest we not do this. So the 3 dots right there. No, scroll up. 3 dots on that. No, scroll down. 18 minutes ago to the right, 3 dots. Copy link.
Oh,
to
this.
comment.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know what I was looking for text. I follow you now.
And and then just place it there and you can resolve the thread.
Oh, shit. That did not do what I wanted to do because I didn't hit the other button. It's fine. We're moving on. Wait.
So the one above. Nope.
This is why.
Yes. That's the one.
Okay. Wait, is this? Yes, it is. Comment and okay, so it's resolved. So hide resolved. Hide resolved. Okay, next.
Yeah, I'm putting this into an issue, the consistent use of dedicated qualified issuers and not just standalone issuer in a new issue right now. So we could not lose this. I agree with this notion, and I'm just right now writing the issue.
Okay, all right, so I'm going to leave that for now, and then once you create the issue, if you can just put a link to it and resolve it.
Yeah.
Okay. We did commit this one. Oh, it's resolved, so I can hide resolved. Should, must.
Yeah, so I created like a new world set of change for this. So let me file a separate issue for it and make it resolve, okay?
Okay. I just left that for now. Once you just put a link to the issue there, then hit the resolve. All right. I'm not. Antoine, you're making a comment on your own issue?
No, I created a new issue, so I'll pass the comment there. Give me a second.
This one I'm talking about, it's on my screen for 3 weeks ago. Is this a note to yourself for additional change you want to make?
Sorry, I'm doing something else, one at a time, please. So I'm resolving the previous one. Yeah, that's the same. So let me close it. Yeah, I closed it.
Okay. Okay.
So refresh the page and you should see the.
I trust you. I don't want to lose where I'm at. So
Well,
what about this?
Everything, this is resolved, so I already resolved it.
Oh, you're saying you're okay. So I really am just completely out of sync then. All right, hold on. Now capture 97, resolve. Thank you, Hank.
Yeah, everyone commented on the same thing. It's like 3 different times, but it's the same.
Okay, so what was the
Yeah, I
issue
think that's
number?
resolved.
I'll
Issue
mark
number
it
is
resolve. I'll mark it resolve also. So
That's wait, which
98.
no, hold on. Is it this one?
yes,
Okay, so that's
I
the
already added the comment and resolved, so it's done.
okay.
Yeah, it's 98. I can resolve the thing if you like.
I just did.
Are we on this one now?
Oh,
Line
it says it.
338.
Or is this actionable?
Not really. I think it's probably borderline saying I don't like the sentence, remove it. But if folks feel strongly one way or the other, I would suggest taking it to an issue and ignoring it. So
Yeah, I think this is like it's
do you want to move it to an issue or do you want to just resolve it?
I think it's an issue.
Okay, I'll create an issue for it.
Yeah.
I'll link it and I'll resolve it. You don't need to do anything, Steve.
Fair enough. Fair enough. That's it. That's all I'm seeing here.
Okay. So when the last two are resolved, it should become mergeable, hopefully.
Okay. Awesome. What do you want to do with this one? Whose is this? This is Hannes's. Okay. Unfortunately, Hannes isn't here.
Yeah, so I think Ori has to approve now, and we can merge.
Well, but
Indeed.
wait, Ori, you're saying
I'm-
we should not do this.
This is Hannes's PR. I did approve it. I also left this comment. It's 25 minutes old, so I mean, in general, if
I would give him time to respond.
yeah,
No, agreed. But I thought, do you want to create an issue so that we can to track
oh,
this?
I don't need an issue for this. You're not going to get anywhere until this is fixed. so we can just. I'm just putting the review there. Like you all should be aware of the recent IETF work items that address this particular concern.
And that's this. Okay, fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
Ori, can you just make that a capital C? That's bugging me.
Yeah, I guess it depends like on what are we trying to cite the text labels for the cozy tags or are we trying to use English text here?
Do we put things in the ticks for
It's
quote?
underscore technically, but I can put a capital C there. There you go. It's capitalized.
Okay. And that looks
Yeah,
like
but-
it. So let's just give, I'm sorry, go ahead, Hank.
Just thinking out loud, maybe I'm dense, but content type? It's
Yeah,
media
it's
type
literally
or content format
what-
if you want to do something that exists.
If you look at the reservation for tag 3 in the header, it says content underscore type. That's the text label for it.
Is that your type TYP thing?
That is, they're related. There's two different ways to express media types in a cozy header. And one is for
Yes.
expressing the media type of the payload, which is what the text description says for this one. And then the TYP parameter is for the media type of the entire envelope. And that's what my draft with Mike Jones is about.
So
But
you're
the-
telling me that when I go to header parameters and look at 3, it will tell me content type. It does.
Correct.
It's just trying to keep in sync with the MIME type. It's always
Yeah,
been
and
content underscore type.
the name is lowercase. Dun, dun,
Correct,
dun.
but it doesn't really matter here because this is just text and it says media type of the payload right next to it. So
Yeah, we are a bit inconsistent. So
It's the content type of the payload.
some of the entries in the list, like algorithm and issuer, will refer to the. Yeah, some of them are capitalized, some are not. So
yeah, that's right. That's why I'm not, I think, I guess to make it more concrete, do we want to make the labels align with the registry entries, or do we want the labels to be sort of more human readable and let the integer tag lead to the registry entry?
yeah, it's probably better to use the registry name. In fact,
All right, let's file an issue to just do that for everything.
Yeah.
Just so that we don't have to do it for each individual one here.
So, and there's one, so I want to have to figure this out loud. There's one weird thing that I forget about Cozy every second month, and that is that content type is the name of the header parameter that gives you content format. Why?
Yes.
But it's okay, it's fine. I get it. I always forget this. And yes, this is correct, unfortunately.
It's not exactly true. There's transfer encoding type too. But fine, hey.
Yep. In the Cozy header parameters, it literally says integers are from the co-op content format IANA registry table. Verbatim. I have no response to that. So why not? Make it more complicated. It's okay.
okay. So I think based on that, are we ready to merge 95 and 96?
Are we ready to, sorry, hold on a second. I was just trying to keep up with the notes.
At least we can say we did something today, right?
Yeah. So did you do, so you resolved the, all right, so this one is Hannes's. We want to give him time to absorb
want to
that.
wait
But
a
you're
few
saying
more?
this
Okay.
one is ready to merge?
Yeah, this one seems ready.
Everything's resolved. Any objections? Going once.
No, go ahead.
Fine.
Yeah. Just capturing notes here. I'm working on another window here to try to not be too distractive, but now me working another window is distractive. So let me put this back over here. So just this.
I just found something curious in Hannes's thing that I already read before. I kind of forgot about it. There's a notion of CBOR SPDX. Is someone else than me doing it?
Is
Or
that
where
a,
does he get this from? Sorry?
I've never heard of CBOR SPDX.
Me neither. But I know of it because I have a working prototype on my local machine, but I don't think I published much on it. So if anybody knows that this is happening already somewhere, please tell me. Otherwise, I will just ignore it for now. Then ask Hannes.
Okay. Issues. These were just added, so I'm not going to worry about those. This is the one Hannes is referencing.
Right. So are we switching to issue triage as opposed to PR review?
Yes.
Well, we
Okay.
got as far as we could for PR review, right?
Great. Yeah, I think that's accurate. So, I mean, the general process for issue triage should be you want to get someone to champion the issue. So you want to make sure all issues have assignments. You want to distinguish issues that are ready for pull requests versus ones that need more discussion or commentary. And you also want to label them according to like when they need to be done. So for example, there's many issues that you don't want to address until right before you do a major draft revision. And then the editors just apply them. You don't have to ask for consensus, just merge straight to main right before you release the tag. And the key to a healthy issue backlog is having good labels and good ownership, and having comments on the issue that you're looping through all of the issues once every 2 weeks, 3 weeks, etc.
And we have quite a big backlog. I did just for that. I did go through them all and I labeled them and I assigned them. So I did create an IETF 118 milestone with dates and so on and so forth, so we can at least track those. And this is what we did. It's been a couple of the IETFs, when I was last triaging them. And as we get closer, to your point, and we might push stuff out. There was a future milestones, I think. Yeah. So we have a bucket to kick things out if we're not focused on the current, in this case, 118. So at this point, actually, so that's a good point. Why don't we just do these? Who's taking this one?
I'll take this one, but it needs a label that says we're going to do it right before the cutoff, and then we're going to push straight to May.
Well, everything goes straight
to say, like, we're going to align the text right before we cut the next working group draft. I actually don't know if I can push straight to main in this repo, because I don't think I'm officially an editor of this architecture document.
Why do you need to push straight to main instead of doing a PR?
Yeah, because you're the editor and you're doing an editorial fix. It doesn't require any review.
And grammar shouldn't require.
Yeah, like, please don't ask me to review putting a comma or changing the casing of text. Like, this is a volunteer thing at IETF, guys. Like, that's a form
That's
of
fair, but rather than try to
practice.
push straight to main, why don't we just do as a PR and then just have somebody merge it for you?
The point is that you don't need to ask for requests to merge that kind of fix as an editor. That's why with great power comes great responsibility, and you get your name on the IETF document. You're supposed to do work without having someone have to review commas.
I think it's up to you guys. I just try to avoid an overly complex thing when you can just literally create a PR and you can resolve it yourself instead of trying to push straight.
You can merge your own PRs. That's the same thing as what I'm saying.
So rather than commit straight to main, which makes, I think we should have probably blocked that, is just create a PR and just merge it.
I do not care.
It's the same thing.
Okay, so that one's done, triaged. So Ori, this is yours, so you own it.
Yep, that's fair.
And obviously
I have to
terminology.
expand the text on that.
This one have terminology. So we'll put this as 118 until it's not. So my thought process is and we'll do this on this one, but my thought process is once we've done that, then if everything's been assigned a label, whether it be 118 or future, then we can just go and triage everything that's assigned to 118 and not have the noise that's not in a 118 focus. So we have 2 that are not assigned. And so Anton, this is, I'm assuming, a tracking one for you. Also 118 until it's not. That's not terminology. That's more than terminology. So. Click. Hank, are you taking this one?
Well, I don't understand that one. That's really overlapping with issuer terminology. I don't understand that comment, Hank. to me, an issuer is used specifically for statement issuer, and we never use receipt issuer.
What
I
is a
think so.
receipt
That is correct.
issuer?
That's
The
transparency
receipt
service.
issuer is a transparency service, and we use transparency service for that.
Right.
Receipt issuer is confusing terminology. In my opinion.
I don't know. It is true that to issue, just a last minute discussion here, sorry, that the transparency service takes on a role somewhere of issuer and has somehow signing key material and corresponding endorsements somehow in somewhere. I don't know if it's a co-located entity that is the transparency services issuer, or if it's inherently in a part of that transparency always has a role. I don't know. If it is a dedicated role, it would be the receipt issuer, and that is something that I did not see in the text yet either. I checked. We have some explicit statement issuers sometimes. I found that in the text.
Yes, so statement issuer is for clarity, but it's to me, I really suggest we use issuer only for signed statement issuer or statement issuer, and then you use issuer in most cases. I think receipt issuer, for the production of receipt, we can use, we should use some other term to prevent confusion. And I think for that, transparency service seems to be good enough. We can have receipt producer, or we'll use something else if you want to be more specific. But I'm not convinced we need to separate the transparency service from the receipt issuer.
You could use the word receipt issuer. That's fair. But the ISS field and KID fields have important semantics in cozy envelopes, and you need to apply them consistently, or you shouldn't be using cozy. So I'm not. I think it's dangerous to use the word issuer without the qualification of statement or receipt in the context of SCITT, because there's so many different kinds of issuers. I think the word issuer is still valuable, and also it's expected at this point, and people are going to use the word issuer as a general proxy for the word person who puts signature or proof on an envelope.
Okay, we could go that path, but it's a major change in the terminology that we currently have. So I'm happy to open that discussion, but so far we are very careful to use issuer specifically for statement issuer and to avoid it for the transparency service. We have three main roles right now: the issuer, the transparency service, and the verifier. If you deviate from that, it's we could, but it's a substantial change.
Right. So I think what you're highlighting there is that the use of the word issuer is problematic, not the use of. So anything that applies a proof might make use of the ISS field. ISS is short for issuer. So we want to make sure that we remove that confusion. I think calling the entities or actors that sign statements issuers is possibly that's the thing that should change, because you have transparency service, that's clearly a subclass of an issuer because they sign receipts, and you have statement issuers, which are also a subclass of issuers, and they sign statements.
But do we have to use issuer for signing receipts?
You kind of do.
We are very careful not to use receipts of signatures and to use TS instead of issuer to move the confusion in the SCITT architecture. We can work back to that, but it is a major change in what we have right now.
It's related to Hannes's PR as well. You have header parameters that are related to identifiers for entities, and the issuer is one of those header parameters. In order to be consistent with cozy, you need to either forbid that header parameter or you need to use it. I would not invent new header parameters that are alternatives to ISS.
I'm not suggesting we change any headers. I'm just wondering if it's sustainable to use transparency service as opposed to something like receipt issuer, so that we use issuer only for the statement issuer in the SCITT architecture.
the point I'm making is you have the, text description of the transparency service, and then you have the protocol identifier binding at the envelope layer for it.
Mhm.
The protocol identifier binding is the ISS field. The text description can be transparency service. But then there will be confusion if you don't elaborate that when identifying the transparency service, the ISS field is used in the protected header.
Or you just pointed out that there's a field, it's already predefined. We can't move it. I understand what you're saying, Cedric. But Ori does try and clear up some confusion, specifically when you're reading this code.
Basically, it's redundant.
We don't need to use the uppercase issuer. We don't need to use that for cases that, like, we can leave the architecture text descriptions exactly as they are. The only thing that's required to remove the confusion is identifying when an issuer of statements and an issuer of receipts uses the ISS field to identify itself. That's the only thing we need to do to fix this.
Okay, so in summary, no change in terminology, and you just need to clarify the use of the ISS.
That's one path forward. I mean, you could change the terminology so that they were kind of both aligned, but if you use the ISS field for two different roles, you'll always need text to elaborate on the roles.
And to make sure I understand, this is a new issue because now we are using COSI receipts, and in COSI receipt there is something that is used ISS that identify the signer of the receipt. So that's a new problem that we didn't have before. Yes.
It's a general issue with COSI sign 1, whether or not you're using the registered claim names to identify the issuer of the envelope.
But you will agree that it's a consequence of moving receipts from SCITT to COSI. Because before we not use ISS in the receipt format for SCITT.
I think it was always going to be a question whether we wallpapered it over before moving it to COSI highlights the problem. Yes.
Yeah, I wouldn't say, like, I think people would probably raise their eyebrows if we just reinvented COSI terminology in SCITT, regardless of whether there was. Yeah, I mean that's kind of my thoughts on it.
And it would have been weird if somebody just for fun and giggles started filling in the issuer field when we had the old SCITT receipts. There is nothing to preclude them from doing that, and then it would have been real confusion. So using the existing field and defining its behavior is probably the right thing to do.
There can be real security issues with this, just by the way, because if you have everyone's using a different field to identify, then you can have scenarios where, like, the security is coming from one guy's version, but the actual identifier is another guy's version. So I could sign things on behalf of Microsoft, and if people aren't understanding the issuer identifier field consistently, then that kind of attack can happen. We've seen that in verifiable credentials.
So time, we're 7 minutes after. I got to go. It sounds like you guys were fine staying. Do we want to, can somebody just put the notes in the decision and we'll go from there? If you want to stay on, by all means, I'll assign.
No, I really need to go, but thanks.
So Ori, can you put in a comment on top of that saying, hey, just clarify when the issuer is used, and we can't ignore the fact that it has to be set.
Which issue is this?
God, Steve just disappeared.
I won't forget. It's no bother. Well, and it's in Hannes's PR, so I think it's already addressed in comments.
Okay.
It's a very cute dog.
Yes. This is Obi.
Obi. Oh no.
Wow.
Oh.
My girlfriend has a very similar dog. More white and black, but yes.
I have one recovering from knee surgery and a third one sitting out in the hall here. So.
Oh.
Okay.
Sorry that I took time out of the meeting.
No, you're totally fine. I just time is
agree.
extremely valuable.
It's good to address the issues that are open.
I just want editors' meetings to be processing issues and pull requests and discussion only to advance text. That's what I can afford for this time.
Yeah, thanks. So sorry about that. We'll do
Or
No,
just
it's
better in the future.
totally
Before you-
fine.
Thank you.
Before we go, do we have to help our friend anymore, or has he got everything covered?
He's, I don't know. I'm not in comms with him. He handed off some stuff to a lieutenant recently, so
Yeah, okay.
yeah, I think what he'll probably he might be. I don't know. I'm giving him space.
Yeah, that's why I'm doing it through you.
Yeah, yeah. I would just keep giving him space. When he resurfaces, I think that's when we should offer.
Thank you.
We refurbished his spice request hard, but now I think we are able to sell it because we understand it. So
Yeah.
I think that's a plus. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's really the only thing that we should be doing is advancing the things that he was leading on, and we're doing that. So I think we're doing everything we can.
Yeah.
So the supported help from DigiCert, you fine with that?
Yeah,
Oh,
but
this is on record, by the way. This is on recording.
Yeah, well, let's turn that off. You have the control, Hank, turn it off.
I don't think I can.
Yeah, I have to request Hank turn it off.